6 months ago, I decided to set aside my overambitious indie game project in favour of the smaller platformer. And have I finished it yet? No. Am I anywhere near finishing it yet? Maybe. Welcome to another devlog. In this video, I'm going to go over the progress I've made in the first 6 months of development, what's next for the project, and when you can be expecting to see a demo. Before we begin, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that subscribed so far. I love reading all your feedback and comments, and it's really keeping me motivated. I'm still not very comfortable doing the voiceover, but I'm going to keep this pretty unedited and choppy, just as a way to practice, really. So apologies if it's a bit sketchy. So let's go back to the beginning. From the start, I wanted Obakenori to be a 3D platformer akin to those I loved growing up. Here's the first sketch that I made when I first started thinking about the game. Some of it's blurred out because I'm not entirely sure I want to give away those story beats yet, and I don't think all of the designs that I've got here will make it into the final game, specifically the swimming form. But I knew right from the beginning I wanted the main character to be a onigiri, mainly because I can just have a bit of fun with the design. And it keeps things simple enough where I can hone in my 3D modelling abilities alongside the game development. Fast forward a few days and a couple of late nights and I have this. I have the character 3D modelled, running around in Unreal, with a handful of placeholder animations, looking pretty good, and I think for a first pass is exactly what I needed it to be. I then got sidetracked and spent a couple of days just making the grass look pretty, which I don't think was completely wasted time because I'm still using the system now, but in hindsight it probably wasn't the most important thing to be doing at the time. I then shifted gears and decided to go what was most important for a platforming game, the platforms, and I just decided to create as much variety in platforms as I possibly could. We've got moving platforms, bouncing platforms, platforms that spin, falling platforms, platforms you can jump through. However, on finishing the platforms, I realised that I really needed to hone in the camera and the player movement before moving any further. So what did I do? I started to design some enemies. Do I have any idea how to put them into the game yet? Nope. Hopefully, at least one of these enemies will make it into the final game. I think this character fits the sort of style and feel I want to go for. But what do you think? Which one of these do you think you could see running around the world alongside our main onigiri character? While I was getting my hands dirty in Blender, I decided to create the first weapon, which is this little bit of sushi on a stick. I think this instantly fits the theme of the world, and I do have a bit of story element alongside it which involves the sushi wrapping the rice, but I'll save that for another video. I did eventually go back into Unreal and properly developed a camera and movement system which I think turned out feeling really good. It was at this point that I started to get a bit more traction on other socials and getting some really good feedback on how a platformer should look and feel. I think really nailing the camera and player movement is an important factor in a game like this. But I'll wait until the demo's in the hand of you guys before deciding whether it's actually any good or not. I designed a few more puzzle systems, including a button door unlocking system, which has the ability to either just be a straight up button that you click to unlock a door, or it relies on a couple of collectibles dotted throughout the world that are essentially keys to unlock the doors. Again, this could be either instantly unlocking the door when the collectible's picked up, so it could be kind of unlocking secret areas at the other side of the map where you're not sure where they are, or it could be collecting specific keys to go to specific doors to unlock them. All the systems that I'm putting in place at the minute, I'm trying to design in a way where I can get a bit more creative with how I'm laying them out in the level and how I want the player to interact with them. This includes the floor/shootable buttons that I've added. These can either be one button to unlock a door, or it could be hitting multiple buttons within a time period. Again, built in a way where they can be joined together, so you could be having to stand on one button whilst shooting another button to unlock a door. And these can also be paired along with the key items, so the buttons aren't pressable until you've picked up a certain item in the level. Again, just random bits like that which help me be creative when I'm going to be designing the puzzles. One of the favourite things that I've built is what I'm calling the Riceable System, where you can assign a specific item in the level to explode in a big fiery ball of rice. This takes the mesh's size, scale, rotation, and applies the particle system to the outside of it, so it looks like the item's hit and bursts into rice. I won't be flooding the level with these systems just because they are pretty resource intensive. But for specific doors or boss fights, I think it could be really cool. From them, my main focus has really been sort of finding the style and aesthetic that I want the game to be. As I am a solo developer doing this in my free time, I am going to be relying on asset packs for some of the environment, like the trees and the skyboxes, whilst designing the hero assets such as the characters, the weapons, and other items in the game myself. As a next step to building the hero assets, I've finally got around to adding some face animations for our main character. Very simple thing so far, just a simple blink animation, but I've got the system in place now where I can start adding in more sort of emotive faces. And depending on how far I want to take it, I could even go as far as adding in mouth movement for talking, etc., things like that. What do you think of it so far? I think it looks pretty good. But yeah, let me know what you think. And for the actual level itself, what I've come up with so far, I think this level's looking really good. I'm going to use this as the building blocks for the demo that I'm hoping to release by the end of June, maybe second week of July. If you want to follow along more closely to when the demo is going to drop or sneak peeks, I highly recommend that you join the Discord. It's newly opened, and yeah, I'm really excited to chat to people in there. So, whilst we're on the topic of the demo, I need to figure out exactly what the minimum functionality I need to finish in order to release something playable. The demo it's not going to be a long demo. It's going to be maybe 10 minutes tops, if that. But I need to get it into the hands of the players, you guys, so I can get some feedback on how it feels, whether or not the functions that I think work well. But again, I'm using them every day, so I have a very, very skewed perspective on whether they're actually any good or not. So, what do I need to add to the current level that I've got at the moment to make it a playable game for you guys? I need to add some ability for like a melee attack for probably just breaking boxes at this point. I don't think I'm going to add any enemies this soon in, but I'll see how we go. A player death system. At the moment, there's nothing really that can hurt the player. There's nothing really that can damage the player. So I probably do need to add either some enemies or some more destructive obstacles into the game. Also, a way to pop up hints throughout. There needs to be a bit of a story element, some useful tips and guides on which buttons to press, how to attack, all that sort of stuff. It's not glamorous, but it needs to be in the game. Alongside that, there needs to be the main menu with a few options, maybe a loading screen, and probably cleaning up the HUD elements as well, the HUD UI. But other than that, I'm not really sure what else I need to add. I think it's almost at the point where I need to get some player feedback. So fingers crossed I can get this done in the next few weeks. But what do you think? Is there anything that's glaringly obvious that I'm just completely overlooking that hasn't even popped into my mind? Thinking about what's next after the demo and what will be further in the roadmap for the game as a whole, I think one of the main features that I need, which is shapeshifting. The whole point of this character is that you can shapeshift into other shapes, and I just need to figure out a good, fun way to have that in the gameplay. I had a couple ideas, similar to like shrinking down to get into certain areas, copying the shape of one of the enemies so you can pretend to be them to sneak past, maybe expanding yourself to a certain size or a shape so you can block something from coming through. If you have any ideas on how you think that could be a fun gameplay mechanic, let me know in the comments. Getting your feedback implemented into the game is something that I really want to work on doing, so yeah, please let me know. I also want to have cinematics, not very complicated ones, just a couple of characters moving around a level, chatting to each other, whether that's just as dialogue pop-ups or voiceover, which is very out of scope at the moment, but nice to think about. Another key feature for a fully fledged game is a saving and loading system. Again, not glamorous, but it needs to be done. Regards to the story, I have a good idea for what I want the story to play out like. I need to get designing on one of the other main characters, the chef that Obakenori comes into contact with very early on in the game, who sort of is the quest giver. But I think their interaction is going to be pretty fun. I've got some fun designs in there, so I'm excited to get that into development as well. I think that's all from me. I'm still trying to get comfortable doing this voiceover thing, but hopefully getting out my comfort zone a bit and just doing it is just gonna, hopefully I'll get better. Sorry if it's been a bit sketchy this time. Again, thank you for everyone that subscribed so far. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to subscribe, like the video. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in seeing any sneak peeks, the Discord link's in the bio. And yeah, that's all from me. I'm excited to get the game in the hands of you guys. Thanks for watching.